Pro Stock Motorcycle.
Session number 1, Eddie Krawiec, number 1 in the points against Hector Arana Jr., number 2 in the points. The first time the Pro Stock Motorcycles have been down the racetrack here at Firebird Raceway in Phoenix, and it's Hector Arana going to the head of the class with a 697. Eddie Krawiec right there with him with a 698.
But then they come back in session 2, same 2 guys side by side. This time, though, it's Eddie Krawiec who goes low. Now, Eddie and Hector Jr. both have earned 5 little points.
The little points can be all important in the battle for the Full Throttle Championship. Take a look at from session number 3, Riddell Harris. Hard enough to qualify in Pro Stock Motorcycle, but when you got parts and pieces coming off it, it makes it even harder, and Riddell was not able to run quick enough to get into the show on this particular pass.
And there's the bull right there. Recover everything. Well, Dad, Hector Arana Sr., isn't about to be left out of this game. Side by side here with Michael Phillips, and Sr. goes low. Is that going to last very long, Mike?
Well, we're going to find out, because right behind them, it comes his son, Hector Arana Jr., and Eddie Krawiec, as we said, your points leader, going at it once again. And who's going to end up with that number 1 spot? Well, take a look at Hector Arana Jr. A great pass, 688 a lap time for the number 1 spot.
1 and 2.
Yeah, and Senior says it. They're number 1 and 2 for the first time.
Well, and the field is set in Pro Stock Motorcycle. They can still change positions, of course, with the Arana family holding down the top 2 spots, and Andrew Hines in 8th.
Take a look at the bottom 8. You see Ellie Tonglet and Jerry Savoie, 2 countdown contenders in 9th and 10th, and David Hope on the bump spot with a 7:11 elapsed time.
And then that long list of folks who did not qualify. This is the first, maybe the only time Pro Stock Motorcycle makes an appearance here at Phoenix, because the race for this year was moved to the fall. Michael Phillips and Andrew Hines are up now. Phillips, the Suzuki. Phillips, the winner at Dallas, and Hines on the V-Rod. That red light doesn't matter in qualifying. Hines a 7:01 with a 3 as Matt Hines looks on, and Phillips a 7:07 with a 1. They don't change anything. Let's send you over now to Dave Reef.
Well, drag racing can be a crazy sport, and Spencer Massey, you certainly know that, especially after the last Top Fuel final you were in on the good side. Now you're in a position that you didn't even think you could possibly be in. So how do you mentally prepare yourself for what has to happen?
Well, it's a situation where, like last weekend, it was a great weekend, winning the race, getting to the final round. That's awesome. This is a different weekend, different racetrack. It's 50 degrees hotter on the racetrack surface and outside, it seems like. It's tough for the crew chiefs to get that tune-up figured out. Right now, I wouldn't even fathom sitting in this spot, being number 1 in the points, not in for the last qualifier. And it's happened to everybody out here in drag racing. John Force, Cord McClinathan, everybody. It's been the same spot. But here we are, the pressure's on. It's NHRA drag race, it's the countdown. Sometimes it's a drag and sometimes it's a race. I want to be in for the drag race tomorrow. We're going to give it our best and try and go A to B. Doesn't matter if it's the fastest, as long as it's A to B in the top 16. That's all I care about.
Could be one of these kids, one of these teams that feeds off of pressure like that.
Yeah, first he does have to get in Ellie Tonglet on his Suzuki and Mike Berry on the Buell. Ellie, I'll tell you what, he's been struggling a little bit. Only 1 round win in the playoffs at all. Last night, during our ESPN3 coverage, he did say he now can just start to laugh about it, but it was rough. Angie Smith, not in the top 10, and her husband, both, of course, on Buells. Matt, the 2007 Pro Stock Motorcycle champion. They are 4th and 7th.
I'll tell you what, I don't think you can count out Matt Smith for this shot at the championship. He's been running well, qualified 4th for this race, came into this race 3rd in the points, so he's been making some good runs. He's got to continue that and hopefully get the win. Angie gives it up. Let's see what Matt can do. 695, 192 miles per hour, low of the session. Nice pass in the heat.
And remember the 3 points that go along with being the quickest in any one session. And then 2 second quickest, 1 for 3rd quickest. Back at the line, there's Karen Stouffer. And Karen will come up against Eddie Krawiec. Krawick's kind of interesting in that he's the only #1 to come into the countdown with it and still hold on to it.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, he's looking over his shoulder because Hector Arana Jr. is coming on strong, running well once again at this race. So Eddie knows he's just got to stay focused, and they got to get the setup on that bike and make it good passes, or they could possibly not be looking at that first place by the end of the year, much less, you know, or even by the end of this race.
And Karen Stouffer, on the other hand, you think about her Maple Grove, it didn't go very well at all. And matter of fact, when she lost to Chip Ellis, that dropped her, what, 2nd all the way down to 4th.
Yeah, she's been struggling a little bit. I wouldn't say all year. I mean, she's kind of had up and down. She's had a very good bike. She's made some very good passes. And then every once in a while, she has those bad races. And that one in Reading was an inopportune time.
Good time in the countdown. Eddie Krawick, 6:95, 7:39 for Karen, and they're going to stay Krawick in 3rd and Karen Stouffer in 5th. There's Hector Arana Jr., currently #1. His dad is #2.
Well, let's take a look at the Rookie of the Year comparison between Vincent Nobile and Hector Arana Jr. Remember, at the beginning of the season, we thought it was a lot for Vincent Nobile, but Hector Arana Jr. has been doing so well, including that win at the U.S. Nationals, that he is right in the running here. It's pretty much a toss-up, I think, right now. That round win percentage, 61% for Vincent, 65% for Hector Arana Jr., and it's going to be a good battle, I think, all the way to the last race.
Yeah, so it's Junior and his dad. Do you buy, though, Mike, into the argument that one class is inherently tougher than another and should be considered with greater weight?
I don't think so, especially when you're talking pro stock motorcycle and pro stock car. I don't think either one of them are easy. I mean, obviously on 2 wheels, you've got to, you know, shift your weight and keep that bike upright and straight, but you also have to hit the shift points in both vehicles precisely right to really do a good job. And if you don't, you're not going to run the good numbers. And obviously both Vincent Nobile and Hector Arana Jr. have been doing a great job this season.
Boy, look at the old man. He's laying them down. 695. Junior, though, deceptive, a 693. They will stay 1 and 2. Well, this family is really putting it together, aren't they? Let's take a look at the Lucas Oil ladder for the first round of eliminations, on the air at 7 o'clock on Sunday night. And Andrew Hines will have Ellie Tonglet. Big implications in the countdown there. Same for Matt Smith and Michael Phillips. Both guys riding very well right now. And on the other side of the ladder, you see countdown contenders. Eddie Krawick wants to keep that point lead. He's going to have to get around Jimmy Underdahl, though, in the first round matchup. Well, how about Del Worsham? There he is. He's probably still thinking about 2 weeks ago. We'll be talking to him in just a moment. And, of course, Spencer Massey, they are still getting ready. It'll be his last chance to make it into this field. All that when we come back.